In this video, the objective is to identify the properties of the cosine curve. Another example. Y is equal to 2 cosine 1 over 3x. So the graph look like this one. Our graph look like this one. So our given y is equal to 2 cosine 1 over 3x. So if you're to consider y is equal to a cosine bx, the amplitude is the absolute value of a. So we have the amplitude is the distance between the horizontal line or the x-axis going to its highest point, or the maximum value, or from the horizontal line going to the lowest point or the minimum value. So our amplitude is 2, or going down we have -2. So it's an absolute value of -2 is again 2. So it is how high or how deep the curve reaches. That is the amplitude. So in finding the period, again we make use of the formula pi over 2 pi over b. Now our b is 1 over 3. So if you're going to substitute 2 pi over b, we substitute b with 1 over 3. So 2 pi over 1 over 3. So we get 2 pi times 3 over 1. So our period is 6 pi. Period, or the period is one complete cycle from 0 to 6 pi. That is one complete cycle. Based on the original graph, if you are to consider the original graph, y is equal to cosine x. So the original graph is y is equal to cosine x. While the new graph is y is equal to 2 cosine 1 over 3x. As you can see, if b, again, if b is between 0 and 1, again, if b is between 0 and 1, if b is between 0 and 1, if b is between 0 and 1, the graph tend to stretch. Again, if b is between 0 and 1, the cosine graph tend to stretch horizontally. And if our b is greater than 1, the graph tend to shrink horizontally. Let's have another example. Let's say we have y is equal to cosine 2x. Cosine 2x. So again, as I have said, if our b is between 0 and 1, the graph tend to stretch horizontally. But if the value of b is greater than 1, the graph tend to shrink horizontally. So the original graph y is equal to cosine x. So the original graph is this one. The other graph, the larger one, is y is equal to 2 cosine 1 over 3x. So this is the second graph. The bigger graph or the wider graph, or a graph with wider period, or the graph that tend to stretch horizontally. Then we have y is equal to cosine 2x. So our b is greater than 1. The graph tend to shrink. So again, in our original graph, y is equal to cosine x. This is the original graph. Then if b is greater than 1, the graph tend to shrink, or nigamay ang graph horizontally. Then if b is between 0 and 1, the graph tend to stretch horizontally. Okay, in this example, what is now our period? We know that the amplitude is between, the amplitude is the absolute value of A. So in our given, y is equal to 2 cosine 1 over 3x. Our A is 2, so that is our amplitude. Our amplitude is 2. What will be our period? So in finding the period, we make use of 2 pi over b. Our b is 1 over 3. So we get 6 pi. So the period is 6 pi, from 0 to 6 pi. So 6 pi, so what will be our key points? So if we're going to divide 6 pi by 4, so we get 3 pi over 2, 3 pi, 9 pi over 2, and of course 6 pi. If you're going to add 3 pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, that is 3 pi. Then plus 3 pi is, plus 3 pi over 2 is 9 pi over 2. Then plus 3 pi is, plus 3 pi over 2 is 6 pi. So what are the key points? The key points are, so we have 0 and 2, 3 pi over 2 and 0, we have another 3 pi and negative 2, then 9 pi over 2 and 0, then 6 pi and 2. So those are the key points. So our domain, is from negative infinity to positive infinity. The range is from negative 2 to positive 2. Our maximum value is 2, then the minimum value is negative 2. So to sum it up, our amplitude is 2, the minimum value is negative 2, the maximum value is 2, period is 6 pi, the key points are 0 and 2, 3 pi over 2 and 0, 3 pi and negative 2, 9 pi over 2 and 0, and 6 pi and 2. So those are the key points. The domain is from negative infinity to positive infinity. The range is from -2 to +2.